Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. So I've got a little bit of time here. My daughter's down for her nap, so I figure we'll just kind of hang out and chat radar detectors. I know we just got daylight savings time, so I guess just a quick reminder while you're out changing clocks. Some detectors, you might need to actually change the time in these if you're using that. And same thing with dash cams. If you've got a timestamp on the dash cam, you can update those. Additionally, shout out to everybody who follows me on Facebook or signed up for my newsletter. I know this was actually on sale. It was talked about on the forums. Normally it's what, $500? Usually you can find it cheaper, $450 or something. I know right now on Amazon it's $425. But over the weekend, Friday and Saturday, it dropped down to like $385, $375 even. So I kind of sent out a heads up to everybody. I didn't do a dedicated video on the topic, but I know I sent it out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, email, newsletter, all that kind of stuff. And I know a bunch of you guys actually jumped on that. So congratulations to everybody who picked up one of these super cheap. I mean, the price kind of went back up $50. I just checked right before shooting this video. But I guess it's nice to see kind of a cheap deal on the R7, because at that price, it's like, I was kind of running the numbers, it's roughly half the price of a Redline 360C. So definitely a good deal there. So anyway, just congrats to everybody who got on that. What's up, Gunnar? Let's see. I'm riding my motorcycle with my dad, so we'll be able to chat with you afterwards. Sure. So interesting. I was thinking of like kind of topics to do for this video, and I was thinking of like kind of going into some of the things that I find honestly frustrating, or things that I would love to help you out with that I can't. One of them, of course, is like motorcycles. I don't ride motorcycles. I can't test that for you guys, but luckily there's some great people on the forums who've taken the initiative to actually like figure out some motorcycle specific information. And I've actually linked to that in the video description. You can check it out under the R7 link, right next to the RDF link. There's one for like motorcycle specific stuff. So for those of you guys who are always asking about that, that's something. There's other stuff, of course, that I would love to share, things like international radar detector usage, or some of the details and specifics on like, what do officers use in my part of the country? If I don't drive there, I don't know. I mean, a lot of times I'm just going off of like what other people say. And MRCD testing, I don't have it here, so I'm having to look at other people's tests and stuff. So all that kind of stuff, if I can't answer you specifically, honestly, I'm just kind of saying, hey, go to the forums. Chances are there's somebody who's going to be able to help you out there. So yeah, that's all. That's just one of the big reasons that I do that. And I guess another thing is like, lately I've just been having to like super kind of narrow down what kind of things do I want to work on. I've been working with a couple different video editors, trying to find somebody to help me edit my videos and stuff, just because like I've got a lot less time nowadays, and so many things that I want to do. So I'm just trying to figure out like, okay, I need to get my videos done, things that I'm focusing on, but anything like being tech support for thousands of people who all message me on Twitter or Instagram or something, like, I don't have time for that, to be honest. I'd love to help everybody, but like, that's not what I'm here for. So it's just contact the manufacturer, head to the forums. And I guess that's always a nice thing too. It's like, I love videos like this, or forum discussions, or website articles. If we can all do this in a place where we can all participate together, then everybody benefits, not just somebody I'm like messaging privately over email or whatever else, you know? So I'm always trying to do anything that would be useful for a lot of people. I'm trying to keep all that discussion public. So discussing on the forums and YouTube comments, Facebook posts, anywhere that's a public area, I'm always trying to keep the discussions there. So if you email me privately, I'm kind of actually putting together an auto response. It's basically like, hey, you know, head over to the forums, or you can book a private session on my website if you want personalized support. But realistically, for most questions, I've got videos with the answers, or website article probably has it, or head to the forums. You may already have your questions answered there, or you can ask and let's discuss this in a way. I'm there, a lot of other people are, to where everybody benefits. So just a quick tip, if you ever want any kind of help, ask in a place where everybody can participate so we can all learn together, you know? Yeah, and it's a way more efficient use of my time than to do a video or a post or something where everybody can participate instead of answering the same question 1,000 times. So anyway, just a quick heads up about that. If you guys message me on Instagram and wonder why I don't respond, that's typically what's going on there. So anyway, yeah, with that said, those are, I guess, some of the main things that I wanted to dive into initially. And then the rest, I figure we'll just kind of do Q&A stuff. That's always fun. Just hang out and chat radar detectors. So let's see. Mark G, can you explain MRCD for dummies? I'm the guy in RDF with the new C8 ALP in the front and Redline 360C. Yeah, so MRCD, multi-radar CD. It is one of the many types of photo radar systems where cops set up a camera and a radar unit to basically measure speeders, take pictures of them, and mail tickets. The radar guns that they're using, they're trying to do things to make themselves more difficult for radar detectors to detect. So you need a detector R7 can do it. The Redline 360C that you bought can also detect it. You need a newer detector that is actually designed for detecting those. The Radenso has traditionally been the gold standard, but a lot of other manufacturers have been working on this too now. And so they're in use. It started overseas in Europe, it's made its way into Canada, and now it's starting to show up more and more in the US too. I don't have it here in Seattle, like I mentioned earlier in the video. So for MRCD specific details, I'm usually referring you guys to forum posts, to discussions from people who test a lot of it in Edmonton, Canada, where it's in use a lot. So basically, it's just photo radar stuff that if you have it in your area, you can turn on the option in your detector and it'll detect them. Otherwise, if you don't have it, it's usually best to leave it off because then you get a little better performance and you don't get the MRCD falses. So that's kind of the gist of the MRCD stuff. Isaiah, thanks for the newsletter. I picked up one of the R7s. Good. I'm really glad that you did. It's funny. I never want to be like spammy about this. Go buy stuff. Like that's not the point. But whenever there's a really good deal, like I really want to let you guys know on Facebook or newsletter or whatever else. So I kind of send that out. Even in my Facebook post, I was like, hey, I've sent this out a few times over the past couple months. Whenever I see a price dip on the R7 or an R3 or an Escort detector, whatever else, hey, here's a nice deal. And actually, the feedback has been really good. You guys are really enjoying that. So I think I might continue doing that just because it seems to be super helpful for you guys. So yeah, I'll have links in the video description, by the way, to my Facebook page and where you can sign up for the newsletter if you're not already on there. Jerry, help peas. Can't load the latest drivers and software for the R7. Totally. That's probably one of the biggest downsides. Great detector, great bang for the buck. The software is a pain in the butt to update. Again, head to the forums. DC Fluid actually did a really nice video tutorial showing you how to update to the latest version, 1.35. Uniden still hasn't posted the update on their website. I don't know why. I talked to them about it last week and I think the week before, and I'm like, come on. And no, it's not supposed to be a beta firmware that was only released to RDF or whatever. It's supposed to be available to everybody, but I actually don't know why it's still not on Uniden's website. But anyway, yeah, forum, best place for that kind of stuff. Motorbikes and memes. Just ordered an ALP. Feel like the heads are going to be just larger than the grates in my grill. Congratulations on the ALP. I've seen a number of guys who ride motorcycles and run ALPs. Maybe they mount them under the fairings, or I don't know what bike you ride. But I mean, you can always post pictures on the forums, and you can take a look at other people's installs to kind of see where other people have installed them. But every bike is going to be a little bit different, and hopefully you can fit them in your bike too. Let's see. Victor, wanted to say thanks for the email about the price drop on the R7. Picked up a second one for my other car. Awesome. Glad. I'm really glad. Yeah. Big Dave 1490. Does the Redline offer any useful warning or protection against laser? The Escorts traditionally are pretty well balanced against laser detection, sensitivity, as well as false alert filtering. But if you actually want good, reliable, consistent protection, there's no substitute for laser jammers. Period. This applies to every single radar detector: Escort, Uniden, Radenso, Valentine, Whistler, Cobra. It doesn't matter. Like, get a laser jammer if you actually want laser protection. You can detect it, and in some situations, it can actually protect you. But if I was just to make up numbers, it'll protect you like 5% of the time. And laser jammers, let's say 99% of the time. So like, pick the one that's going to help protect you reliably and consistently. So go get ALPs are the way to go. There's other options in some situations, TMGs, Stingers, some of the Escort options, etc. But ALPs are traditionally the way to go. Let's see. Cool Mod. Does the R3 come with the most recent firmware? That's always a really interesting question. Sometimes, maybe. Depends on when it was built. Depends on, did they preload anything before they shipped it to you? Some some dealers do that. But even if it doesn't, it's good to know how to update your detector anyway, because if a firmware update comes out tomorrow or there's a new red light camera database, you might as well learn the process of what it's like to update the detector. So I always recommend just check for the latest update, no matter when you bought the detector. Maybe it has the latest firmware. Maybe it was built and shipped before the latest firmware came out. So either way, just go through the process and try to update. If it's already current, cool. If not, go ahead and learn the update process. It'll definitely be valuable. So I don't know if it has the latest firmware, but it's good to check either way. Tito, hello from the island of Puerto Rico. Hola, good to see you, Tito. Let's see. Isaiah, are there any mirror dash cams that you recommend? I've been looking at the Rexing M1 Pro. That's a good question. I've been asked about that from time to time. I personally don't really like mirror dash cams. I like the aesthetics of the factory rearview mirrors, like the one in my Audi. I really like it. I would never put an aftermarket rearview mirror on there. But I know for other people, it's a really convenient and easy way to do it. On my mom's car, I did a, I think we're U1000 install recently. And I've been thinking about getting a rearview mirror. Her rearview mirror, it's getting a little bit older. I know it's starting to like wear and chip on the edges, and she doesn't have a backup camera in that car. I know she'd like one. So I've been thinking about getting one of the rearview mirrors that has a backup camera built in and just installing it in her car and doing a review of that too. And then it's like my daughter's waking up. I have to see how that goes. Maybe just test it out and do a comparison with the ThinkWare or something. But for myself, I don't want to install them. I don't like the looks, but I know they're popular for a lot of people. So it's just one of the things that I haven't gotten into. People ask about like car alarms. Not interested in that. Police scanners. I used to run one, didn't find it that useful. So, you know, I just try to focus on the things that personally I'm most interested in. So maybe I will at some point, but it's super low in the priority list, to be honest. Motorbikes and memes. My ThinkWare looks gross, but works. Do you mean, which dash cam do you have? And also, I'm curious, when you say it looks gross, do you mean like the casing of the dash cam or the video quality? I'm curious about some more details. Edwin, I got the R3 for $155 on taxes. Yeah. So that was awesome. I think it was $145 before tax, and I guess $155. Just that was by far the lowest I've ever seen it. And hopefully that deal is legit. Did you get your detector, Edwin, the R3 for like $145? Because that was an amazing deal. Like, I don't know what's with these Uniden prices dipping. I feel like it's trying to buy Bitcoin on dips or something. You know, the price dips, buy it then. So I feel like that's kind of buying Uniden detectors. You try to buy it on dips. Let's see. Laser detection is a ticket notifier. Yep. Edwin, yes, it was $145 and new. Oh man, I'm so glad that was legit. I thought it was, even though it was from a third-party seller. And yeah, I'm watching my daughter on the baby monitor. So she's going back down. She's awake, but hopefully she goes back to sleep. We've kind of been with daylight savings time, trying to like put her to bed earlier so that when she goes to daycare tomorrow, she's kind of more comfortable with the time change. So been working on that. But anyway, let's see. Big Dave, 1490. Another question I have. I know Thea isn't out and we don't know much, but do you think it will be a lot better than the Redline? That's an interesting question. The Redline has definitely been getting better. The R7 has as well. I think Thea, what I'm going to say next, just my educated guess. This is all subject to change. We still got to test it. So big asterisks. But from what I've seen so far, and just based on that, okay, so I'm assuming Thea's probably going to have better range. Awesome. They should be able to fully eliminate BSMs, which is great. That's the big sales pitch there. Kind of the main one. I know a lot of the other detectors, they've been doing like K-notch and stuff, which reduces the sensitivity of the detector in certain frequency ranges where there's traditionally BSMs. And that could also affect the range of legit signals. But then they still false to like Mazdas and Chryslers and GMs and whatever. So I prefer not relying on like stupid filters like K-notch and K-block. At least Uniden has updated their filter. It no longer completely blocks 24.199. You can kind of like reduce the sensitivity of that. The Radenso Pro M, I know it reduces the range when you enable like TS reject high. A lot of detectors, yeah, they've got compromises with filtering. So Thea should be able to address that. Open API, awesome, like the V1 Gen 2. Open source, so you can actually start customizing the detector itself, doing more than just a detector app that communicates the detector. Should be RDD immune, arrows, I'm assuming Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and USB-C power cable and all this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, it seems super promising. Do I think it'll be better than the Redline 360C? I do. And I think the Redline 360C will probably be the detector that's most affected by Thea whenever it comes out, just because that's kind of your current top tier, most expensive, all the bells and whistles detector. Whereas Thea should be kind of that little bit more expensive, but better in just about every way. I doubt it'll have, I guess, the Escort Live like alert sharing stuff. We'll have to see. But other than that, build in the automatic Wi-Fi updates and stuff, please, Radenso. That would be great. I think it'll be better in just about every way, and I do think that it'll be worth the money. I don't have Thea yet. Well, we of course have to test it to find out for sure, but that's kind of my educated guess on this. I think that the R7 will probably still, like, I mean, this is a really interesting comparison, these two, right? Both great range. This has been updated to have better BSM filtering. It's got the arrows. It's got the auto lockouts. I know I did a video on this recently, kind of comparing these two in more detail, and especially when you could find this at like half the price of the Redline. Yes, the Redline's a better detector, but this is half the price. that's kind of amazing. So best bang for the buck, R7 for sure. And given that Thea is still most likely going to be expensive, it seems like the best price range that we know of so far is somewhere between 750 and 1,000 from what Radenso shared so far. R7 is going to be way cheaper. So that's why I think the Redline is going to be more of a direct competitor because of the features, and the price is going to be a lot more similar. R7 is going to be way cheaper. So that's kind of my thoughts on all that. I know people ask all the time, but hard to say for sure just because it's not out yet. And who knows when it's going to come out and what it's going to be like, you know? We'll have to see. Let's see, Tom, you guys in the States are lucky with updates for the ALP. Yeah, Europe is different. They're distributors. It'd be nice if we had good distributors all around the world, and that's just a whole interesting thing with, yeah, things in the US are different than they are overseas in Europe completely in many, many different ways. I completely understand. Even in Canada, like the R7 deal I was talking about wasn't available up there. So just things are different all over the world. Let's see, Zach, should I get my R7 back or wait to return and buy Thea? Yeah, we were just talking about this on the forum. Somebody was asking about the V1, and the consensus unilaterally, and I completely agree with this, is get a good detector now. Use it, run it, enjoy it. It will provide you with many saves, and you're going to have an awesome experience with it. Like, it's definitely continue to use it. If nothing else, Thea comes out and you want to upgrade, cool. Keep your other detector as a backup or just sell it and get most of your money back. One thing that I found with trying lots of detectors is it really gives you a good appreciation of each detector when you've tried a couple different ones, and you can kind of better understand and appreciate the differences and the nuances. And so if you were to go to Thea without having another detector, you're just like, this is cool. But if you've used a couple other detectors or even one other detector, you're going to much more appreciate a lot of the detectors that, or you're going to much more appreciate kind of how Thea works, kind of going from another detector to Thea. So I think there's benefits there as well. And given the delays that we're seeing anyway, I say just get a detector now. And whenever Thea comes out, cool, upgrade then. Sell your other detector, pocket the money, put the money towards Thea, cool. But yeah. Let's see. That's kind of my thoughts on that. HS, is it worth upgrading to the Redline 360C or keep my V1 Gen 2 for now? If you're happy with the V1 and you're running something like JBV1 and it integrates super smoothly with your experience, keep it. It's an awesome detector. I mean, if you're on the iPhone, you're running V1 driver, it's got your auto lockouts kind of backgrounded and automated, and they work better than what you've got on the Redline. So if you already have a V1 and you're happy with the experience getting in and out of the car, I say keep the V1. I mean, if you need the MRCD stuff, sure, you're going to want an R7 or a Redline or something else, you know? But the V1, it's a great detector. Like, I guess you could always be more specific. If you guys are kind of wondering in the questions, like, should I upgrade? It's always really helpful to say, well, why are you thinking of upgrading? Is there a certain feature that you're wanting, or is there something lacking in your current detector? Like, there's a lot of ways to approach it, you know? So kind of let me know your experience and what you're hoping to get by swapping detectors, because I swap detectors all the time. There's no detectors that's perfect in every single way. Every detector does something better than others, especially the top tier ones. Well, I take that back. Maybe some of the detectors like the Cobras don't do other things better. Maybe they have a lower price, but that's about it. But let's say, at least with the good detectors, they all kind of have their strengths and weaknesses is probably a better way to say it. The win-win for all. Let's see. Hello from Georgia. What's up? Do you think that 2 ALP sensors would be good for an old Lexus RX 350? No. So if you're in Georgia especially, get an ALP, get 3 heads minimum per side, 2 regular heads with the TX head in the center. Dragon Eye, they're based out of Norcross, just outside of Atlanta. And so all throughout Georgia, you're going to see a ton of Dragon Eye in use. And for that reason, you're going to want 3 heads, just the way the ALP operates. So get your 2 regular heads and get your TX head in the middle. If any of you guys in Georgia, I don't know how often they shoot in the rear. Front definitely would be a must. Don't go for 2 heads. So you're going to want 3. Let's see. Questions about the R3. Marvin Williams. Should I buy the R3? Great detector. It's, I think, $250 right now on Amazon. Take a quick look here. Yeah, $243, $245. They're in that price range. I mean, there's like the Radenso XP. I know that's another popular option, but the R3 usually just kind of overshadows it just due to the much better performance, the better display, the MRCD capabilities, all that kind of stuff. I like the XP, but it just sits on my shelf here for the most part. Just the R3 at the same price, just I think it offers way more. It's really hard to compete with that detector. I know Escort now is trying with the Max 3. It gives it auto lockouts and Bluetooth, but then you got KA falses and stuff. So, yeah, the Unidon's great bang for the buck. I mean, obviously there's reasons to get other detectors too, but if you're looking for just a ton of detector for the money, that's kind of where they shine. Hey, what's up, Tesla Detector? Good to see you. Thanks for your help, by the way, with the video editing. I have an R7 on my Tesla, but no radar detector with my work car. Should I borrow an R3 or go with the R7? Good question. I mean, if you're happy with the R7, it might be nice just to like stick with the same detector just so it's the same experience with button presses and mutes and all that kind of stuff. If you have the R7 and you like the arrows and you find them useful, oops, somebody's calling. Hang up. Yeah, keep it. I'd say get another R7. Plus, you got the much better BSM filtering that the R3 doesn't have yet. The R7 has a better BSM filtering. It's got the auto lockouts. Yeah, I guess it's what, an extra $200 or so. Yeah, if you can spring it for the R7 and you have one already, it's nice just to keep it similar. If you want something different, sure, get an R3. It's fun. There's some weird things like I know the power cable. It's on the opposite side on the R3. It's on that side. Weird things like that, but whatever. Yeah. Anyway. Zach Armstrong. Let's see. Best Buy matches prices on Amazon. Yeah, some people have been doing that. So like if Amazon is selling a detector and you want to get it in Best Buy, you can do that price match. So it's a good thing. Somebody keeps calling. Quit it. Got my phone in Do Not Disturb. Let's see. Welcome. Let's see. A couple of days. Okay, talk about motorcycle installs and stuff. Awesome. Put this back here. My daughter went back to sleep. I'm really glad. Good to see. Let's see. Michael, any other option for mounting a V1 in a Tesla Model 3? What's the question as far as mounting locations or wiring it or custom installed? Well, not yes, if you want a V1, not custom installed. But what do you mean by like other options? You can mount it on a blend mount. That's a good option. So, I mean, I don't really know what you mean by mounting. Maybe you can clarify. God T-Fopt IK, we need a wireless detector. It would be nice. Let me grab one. I've got the, where's mine? The best, quote unquote, one, it's now discontinued, but the Escort Solo series, is the Solo S4. Yeah, I mean, it's battery operated. So, sure, you got your batteries here on the bottom instead of, I mean, I guess it's nice. You don't have to rely on the power cable. You can still plug it in if you want for power. Bad performance, no GPS, expensive, tons of false alerts. It alerts for a lot of K-band alerts as if it's KA. Escorts discontinue it. It's ancient technology. With all the wireless detectors, they have to do all these tricks to like save battery power, which winds up significantly reducing the performance of the detector. I know there's some people who are diehard Solo fans. Totally cool. I found testing, it is abysmal in so many ways. It is discontinued. I figure if Escort ever comes out with Solo 5, they're going to need to do some serious upgrades to bring this up to some semblance of modern standards and capabilities, because this is like 1990s technology or something. They just keep putting a new display and a new case on it or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully one day somebody comes out with a good wireless detector, battery operated, but today there isn't one. So, Michael, coming back to your V1 install on the Model 3, I don't want to install the V1 permanently, as I don't want to leave it in the car. Are you open to maybe something custom installed that doesn't install in the windshield? You can get some with arrows front and rear, so that way, or 2 antennas front and rear, that way you get the arrows. Other than that, yeah, I mean, your options are just whatever the options are, and hopefully your windshield doesn't cause any issues. Shane, going to upgrade to the R7 from the Max 2. Cool. Yeah, that's a nice upgrade. For sure. I know Escort, I think they've still been improving like the BSM filtering and stuff on that one. But yeah, the R7 would definitely be a nice upgrade. I got rid of my Max 2 2 years ago, something like that. So I don't know if they're still releasing firmware updates. I think they've added some new BSM filters and stuff. But yeah, anyway, R7 would be a nice upgrade. Let's see. 3D printing stuff. Let's see. Kind of scroll through and all. Great content. Yep, current firmware. Next base. Okay, Big Dave, I know earlier in the chat you were talking about your Garmin 622W dash cam. And you had an X base, you said, in the other car, and the sun killed it. Tell me about the Garmin. I've looked at some of them. I really haven't been impressed with the Garmin dash cams. I love their GPS stuff. I used to run them. I loved it for hiking, for driving. They were great before Google Maps and everything came out. But I have really not been impressed with the dash cams in terms of features and quality and everything for the money. It just seems like it's mostly they're going off brand name recognition instead of having like a really good dash cam. But I haven't actually tested it. I just kind of look over the specs and features and price point, and I'm like, nope. But anyway, let me know your experience. I'm curious. Nick, R7 was on sale yesterday for $374. Yeah, that was awesome. And that sale was interesting just because of the fact that it stayed down low for so long. Usually it dips down for like maybe an hour or something. This was 2 days or something. So Ford V8 forever. I upgraded my R7 to 1.35. What a pain. Still haven't used it yet. Still like the unit. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I really hope Uniden kind of comes out with improved update software just to simplify that whole process. It's wild. Just how many people have issues with it. I'm still surprised to this day, and I always in the back of my head kind of dread doing update videos because I know there's going to be so many people complaining about the updates. And so, yeah, I really hope they improve that just for your sake and also for my sake, but obviously mostly for your sakes. Joel, hey, what's up, Joe? Sunday Rain. Yeah. Good to see you from Avance. Avance is like a local car group here in the area. Cool guys. It's fun to follow you guys on Facebook and see all the cars that you guys are driving. I know there was like that green RS6 recently. Somebody posted like a silver, it was like a Boxster GTS or something. So always fun to see fun cars. 902 Moto. Hey, I was wondering if you have a suggestion for mounting in a Range Rover with the heating element in the windshield. Had to mount my whole bass to the sunroof so it wouldn't work on the windshield. Yeah, there's some cars, especially kind of some of the higher end luxury cars that have like heated windshields or something like that just block radar signals. You kind of have two options. One, sometimes there's a little cutout on the windshield where you can install your toll pass or a radar detector. If you don't have that, you have to stick it on the sunroof or something for it to work. You kind of have to go for something custom installed. My two favorites are the Radenso RCM and the Escort Max CI 360. More expensive than a windshield mount for sure, but if you need something custom installed because your windshield is just not going to let you use a windshield mount detector, those are the two options to go. There's other options like the NetRadar DSP and the Stinger VIP and the K40 Platinum 360 and stuff. I don't recommend any of those. Basically, Radenso and Escort have the two best options right now. Jimbo, any suggestion with the Pro M? In auto city or city modes and flat roads, I'm picking up cops around curbs a little bit late noticed. Picking up on them. Basically, you're not getting enough range. Do you know if they're using Constant On or Instant On? I know the Radenso Pro M doesn't have the greatest range ever, but it still should be pretty good. You can always try disabling KA filter. I've found you do get more falses, but you get a little bit better range there too, so that could be an option. If you have it, was it KA narrow with just the 3 segments on, 33.8, 34.7, and 35.5, that can help improve performance too. If the officers are using Instant On or something, that's just going to make it tougher. If they're using Constant On, the Radenso should be able to give you at least enough warning to to get a save and avoid a ticket. Also, you need to factor in what direction they're shooting. Maybe they've got their radar gun pointed the other direction, so you're kind of approaching them from behind anyway. So maybe that's a reason for shorter range. There's always a ton of different possibilities here. And I'm not going to say, like, go buy another detector just for the sake of buying a detector to get better range. I mean, it takes a little bit more, I think, analysis and exploration to figure out really what's going on. Throwing more money at a solution or at a problem doesn't necessarily always fix it. You kind of have to know the details of what you're getting into. Let's see. David, anybody ever seen a significant Amazon sale on the Escort Redline 360C? Did they sell that on Amazon yet? I don't know if that one is there. I know they have the Mac 360C. See, Redline EX. I haven't seen the Redline 360C. I think it's like Best Buy. Couple third-party dealers have started doing it now. Obviously, Escort's website. I traditionally say just go to Escort's site because if you go there and you buy it from them, you get the ticket-free guarantee. So an extra free bonus as long as you're going to buy the detector anyway. You don't get that if you buy it from another place like Best Buy or something. So I typically recommend just getting it from Escort. And to your question, as far as sales, I've never seen a single sale on the Redline. The only thing I've seen is when it first came out, they had a coupon code for 3 years of their Defender database, the built-in red light camera database. But if you've got it connected to the cloud anyway over Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, you're still getting the latest updates for red light cams and speed cams. So practically speaking, it's not a huge deal, but it's nice if you don't want to connect it to the cloud, I guess. But other than that, no, it's still full price. Escort hasn't been discounting it at all. I haven't seen a single sale, a single discount. They recently started discounting the Max 3, $30 or something, but not the, what's it called? The Redline 360C. I try to keep up with that. If you go to my website and you click on deals at the top, I try to keep up every time I see a new coupon code or a discount or a sale or something. I just put them all in one place there. So if you're ever wondering what's available, you can always go take a look there. So shameless plug. It's just kind of where I've been centralizing all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Let's see. John Doe bought the R7 for $460, missed it $375. Now it's $424. Do they price match? So from what I've seen with Amazon, I have seen 1 or 2 people who've been able to talk to an Amazon rep and get them to actually like lower the price if it discounts. Sometimes you have to get a USA person, not an international person. In my experience, I've never been able to get them to do that. They always say just return the detector and then rebuy it at the cheaper price, which is really weird. They won't just lower the price and save themselves all the hassle of returns and additional shipping and whatever. I guess it's just the logistics of however their system is set up. So just something. Let's see. Yeah, return it and buy again. Rit's saying. Exactly. Gene, return it and rebuy. Let's see. Plan check. I keep getting constant K-band 24020 with my new R7. Should I disable the extended option? Would that potentially affect legitimate threats? Yeah, the extended option, it's nice, especially for photo radar and international usage to give you like super low down K-band scanning. I think that's more meant for the 23.950 and lower range or something off the top of my head. I have to take a look on with that. Actually, we'll pull it up now. Yeah, so extended option, I guess, mostly for international stuff or some of the photo radar. I think some of the red flex might be down there in Arizona. But I mean, you can run KA wide or K wide or K narrow even. As far as the constant K 24.020 though, do you say, is it like pretty much always on when you're driving with the detector? Maybe your car is emitting something. Like what car do you drive? Maybe you're picking up your own blind spot false, and that's why the detector is constantly falsing to one fixed frequency. That's potentially my guess. So yeah, maybe a little bit more information on that. We could talk about that a little more. 09 Thunder 1. Is the R3 ever going to get auto lockouts? No. The R3 does not have enough memory. I mean, manual lockouts, it just stores the, was it 750 or 250 or 1,000, whatever it is. It just has a fixed amount of memory to store that. With auto lockouts, you have a lot more stuff to store. You're having to memorize literally every single K-band signal you see, legitimate or false, just to see, like, do you see this again? And then eventually store them, you know? So for auto lockouts, you need way more memory. The R3 was just not built with the memory to support that. So there's no way to get auto lockouts for the R3. So, yeah, if you want auto lockouts, R7 only. Won't be coming to DFR7 or R3, and that's why. I guess I'll be buying an R7 then. Yeah, I mean, I guess in some situations, it'd be nice if they could continue to add new features. Like they added MRCD with the software update to the R3, which I thought was awesome. It was the first time I've seen a company actually add multi-radar specifically just with the firmware update. Radenso needed a hardware update to do it. Escort has needed hardware updates for their like the Redline and stuff. Did Escort do it? The Max 360s got it with a software update, and I know they had an international version that got it too. So I wonder maybe that could also be a case where they got it just with the software update. But in general, let's just say it's typically a rare thing to add it with software. For auto lockouts anyway, hardware update required, get an R7. Stanman E90 ALP laser versus CW5 with the Redline 360C. So I've done a video going over that exact thing in detail. The only real advantage of going for the ZW5, if you're running this, is you can display it here, which is kind of cool, but it just makes the install a little bit easier because you have no cables to run through the firewall. That's the only advantage. Otherwise, I say it's best going for the ALP anyways. I don't care what radar detector you buy, get the ALP. You're going to get much better performance. You got support for more than, or for multiple heads. I think they've added now, You can do up to 4 heads in the front. You cannot do any rear heads with the ZW5. So if you want rear protection, got to get the ALP. ALP is much better in terms of jamming capability, in terms of updates, in terms of defenses, in terms of feature set. Just get that one. Like, if you really want the easier install, okay, get a ZW5. It's best going to be for smaller cars. I guess you could do it with 4 heads up front now, so it could work on bigger cars. But really, if you want the easier install and no wireless, no running cable through the firewall, okay, you can get the ZW5. But I run it in my wife's car. It's fine. We don't see a ton of laser. I mean, it works, but she drives a little Honda Fit, you know. So anyway, trade-offs, as always. Michael, do you collaborate with the JBV1 dev consistently? Does he take feature sets? I mean, yeah, sure. I talk to him from time to time, but it's mostly forum discussion publicly. I mean, he takes feature suggestions all the time. He is super active on the forum. So if you have any recommendations or suggestions, he's probably one of the best people I've seen in the entire industry as far as listening to customers quickly and very well executing the way he implements new features. So he's awesome. So if you have any feature suggestions, go to the forum and post it there. Talk to him. He may actually implement it. Hey, Amrit Singh, thanks so much for the super chat donation. I appreciate that. So let's see. Your question. I live in New York City, and I'm planning on driving to South Carolina this summer. I've been thinking of buying the R7. Any reason to look at the V1 Gen 2 or save money? So for road trips like that, I prefer the V1 Gen 2 with JBV1 over the R7. The R7, yes, it's cheaper. It's 100-ish bucks cheaper, plus minus, depending on what price you buy it at. But for road trips, having all the extra stuff that you get with JBV1 is awesome. I love it. But at the same time, you can run highway radar or something on your phone, even if you're running the R7. So for the best bang for the buck, maybe get an R7 and then run JBV1 standalone or run highway radar instead. On an Android, it's easier to use than JBV1. That's a great option. So if you're looking for the cheapest option, that's interesting. I know highway, yeah, R7 and highway radar, that's a good option too. But V1 with JBV1, I love it. I'm really happy with that setup for a cross-country road trip. Or, yeah, New York to South Carolina. That'd be a good option. Will's Boys, is the V1 mount patented? I'm sure it will. I'm sure it is, yeah. Their mount is great. I know they changed a little bit between Gen 1 and Gen 2, but I love the way it's designed. Like, they do a good job of, instead of just having the detector like hang from the suction cups like this, they do the same sort of thing, but then they have the extra pad right here. So it presses against your windshield for a third point of contact. 1, 2, 3. And it just adds extra stability. So I like it. Yeah, they changed a little bit between Gen 1 and Gen 2, but I'm pretty sure it's patented. NJSGES, can you run the R7 with JBV1? Sure. You're just going to need to go into the settings and enable standalone mode in JBV1. And that way you just run it completely standalone. It doesn't in any way communicate with the R7. So you're not going to be getting any radar alerts with JBV1. It's not going to be logging your radar alerts. It's not going to add any additional functionality to your R7. It's just going to give you like the cloud sourced alerts. I can tell you aircraft information, weather information, all that kind of stuff, right? So anything that doesn't require a radar detector, you can get that information. But if you're running a standalone, also take a look at highway radar, as I mentioned. It offers the same features, but it's just a simpler interface and easier to use. And if you're not pairing it with the V1, highway radar is just going to have a much easier learning curve. So, yeah. And by the way, Sean, I saw your message earlier. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. David, JBV1 and new dedicated Android. Was that part of another question? Or let me scroll up here real quick. JBV1 is never going to be iOS. Correct. It is only Android. It'd be nice if iOS version was coming. I know there's an iOS version of Highway Radar that's currently in development. It's just a matter of some developer kind of taking the initiative and helping create something for us. This really is a collaborative effort. It's a lot of people working together. Radar detector manufacturers, developers, people like you and me who are out driving with this stuff, sharing our experiences, providing feedback, me staring at cameras and chatting with you guys about radar detectors. I'm a part of this too. Like you guys hanging out here and talking. It's all of us working together, So 09 Thunder 1, does the R7 have an auto speed sensitivity setting? It does not. That would be cool. I like that feature with the Radensos, with the Escorts. it's nice to get, higher sensitivity at faster speeds and lower sensitivity around town. The Uniden does not have that. You just need to manually switch between like highway advanced and city mode yourself. Pretty easy to do, but it is a manual option. Hunter Thompson, upstate New York is pretty easy. Pretty much all KA band. That's awesome. You're very fortunate if you're in an area where pretty much all KA band. Interceptor 11, excuse my ignorance. Can you elaborate what highway radar is? Yeah. So it's in the Android app. It's in development currently for iOS, but it's an Android app. Think of it as like Waze on steroids. It's basically taking all your crowdsourced information, and it can report where officers are located. It gives you, though, even better longer distance alerts. Waze has been shortening the alerts. So highway radar does a similar thing, but gives you even longer range alerts. It also gives you a bunch of other stuff, information as far as like, weather information or aircraft information. I love if officers are, running speed enforcement from the air, you can get the notifications of those types of aircraft in the air, plus the chase cars up ahead. You get the notifications of that, where Waze isn't really a great option for that. So a simplest answer, I guess, is just Waze on steroids. So that's what that is. Let's see. What vehicles tend to give false K alerts with the R7? With the latest firmware, I think it's mostly like some GM vehicles. Mazdas, like the CX-5s, can as well, though if you enable MRCD. It seems to filter out a lot of the Mazda CX-5 BSMs for whatever reason. So shout out to DC Fluid for figuring that one out. Thanks so much. But there's not a ton of cars. If you guys know, too, if you've been driving with firmware 1.35, you've been seeing some BSM falses. Let me know maybe in the chat what you've been seeing. John Doe, don't have time to sit here and wait for an answer after asking 3 times in a few minutes. Yeah, you guys know, there's tons and tons of questions going by. I'm not going to be able to answer everybody's question, just realistically. There's one of me and there's 150 of you guys right now. So I'm trying to get to everybody's. We're going by pretty quick, but thanks for understanding. I can't get to every single one. If you do a super chat donation, that does make the question pop up on my screen, and I'll make sure I get to you there too. But yeah, I'm trying to get to everybody. I'm not going to be able to get to everybody. If I don't get to yours, sorry, but I'll get to what I can. So let's see. Dan S. Vortex, are you going to do another update video for Squirrel Master's V1 CD? Probably not. I mean, I've done a video already going into it in detail. He releases new firmwares from time to time. Take a look at it if you want, but the best stuff is on the forums. I've got so much stuff already that I haven't covered that I really want to do that's not even on my to-do list, to be honest. Amrit, hey, thanks again for the super chat donation. Thanks, I appreciate your work you put in this niche market. V1 Gen 2 and JBV1 seems better. I can run it on my Android head unit and keep it open. Yeah, if you have an Android head unit in your car, that's going to integrate really, really nicely. Yeah, it's a fantastic option. Yeah, great option, but all day long. Let's see. Carlos S. Tech. I'm running the Uniden R7, Escort Max 360C, and V1 Gen 2. Nice setup. Uniden is too noisy, and the Escort alert's almost too late. V1 is the best so far. Yeah, the V1 is definitely a nice, well-rounded option. I'm curious with the Uniden. Have you run it with the newer firmware yet? Because that's made a huge difference with the detector. Max 360, yeah, in some situations, the range is not going to be sufficient. That's one of the main reasons why we go for the Redline 360C or the R7 or the V1 Gen 2. It's fine in easier situations, but in some of the most difficult ones, that's where you really see the difference with the top tier detectors. Will's Boys, recommendation for someone finding someone to install the ALP in Milwaukee. Well, I don't know. Usually you can go to ALP's website and they've got a list of distributors that they use. You can go take a look there. You can find installers in your area or ask on the forums for local specific information. I mean, I don't know who's a good installer in Milwaukee, but hopefully somebody else in your area can give you some recommendations. Thomas, does your wife turn off or ignore the radar detectors because they're too annoying? So funny, I actually disabled K-band on her detector. We have very, very little legitimate K-band, and she is very anti-radar detector false alerts. And so for her, I run KA band only. She's got a Max 360C. And same thing with my mom's car too. I just run KA band only. So just for them, just to keep it a little bit simpler. But for myself, I leave it turned on. It's all false alerts. But I think twice maybe in the past year or two, I've seen legit K band. So I guess some trade-offs, but at least here enough, you can do it somewhat safely, depending on where in the Seattle area you're driving. Some places, yeah, they do use K band. Motorbikes and memes. Hey, thanks so much for the super chat. I'm getting a Daseta head unit soon. I'm not quite sure what that is, but congratulations. I'm sure that's awesome. I don't know if that's like a kind of a head unit for your dash. Let's see. I'll be using maps and JBV1 for my V1 Gen 2. Super excited. My ALP install will complete it. Great. Yeah, that's going to be an awesome setup. V1 Gen 2, JBV1, ALP. Awesome. Let's see. Carlos, updated the R7. Let's see. When I was in Arizona and Scottsdale, no red light camera alerts. Do they still use them there? I know they have like the red flex stuff, but I don't know if they have. I remember reading something about someplace taking away red light cameras, and I don't know if that was Arizona specifically, and they like were kind of getting rid of them. So I don't know. But anyway, again, if you go on the forums, you'll get better information about what's in use in different areas. I don't know how much they use like actively. Who was it? I think Red Flex is based out of there or something. I don't know. Anyway, Michael, where's your shirt from? It's actually it's a Gryffindor shirt from Harry Potter. We went to go see The Cursed Child in New York when it came out, pre-pandemic and everything. So wife and I, big, huge Harry Potter fans, especially her. So we went up there to go see the play, and she's a Ravenclaw, so she got the Ravenclaw shirt, and I got the Gryffindor one. So that's where the shirt's from. Motorbikes and memes. Yeah, Android head unit. Cool. Was that for a car or was it for your bike? I mean, I don't know if they make Android head units for motorcycles. I'm guessing it's just cars, but maybe they make motorcycle versions too. Jesus. Let's see. The cameras are all over Mesa, Arizona and Scottsdale, Arizona. Awesome. Okay, yeah, thanks for confirming. I appreciate your information too. You guys know lots of areas better than I do, so. Let's see. Carlos, following up, they use it in a few areas, still live in Scottsdale, Chandler, and Glendale, but not in Phoenix anymore. Awesome. Drillers, Vortex, do you know when the new auto GPS mute feature for the R7 is coming out? It's already out. You can download it now from the forums or from my website. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I don't know why it's not on United's website yet. You can keep waiting for it if you want, or you can just head to the forums. You can head to my website. I've got links to where you can download it now. Yeah, so if you want it, it's already available. Let's see. Brand Theron. Thanks, Vortex, for the R7 post. I managed to get one as a gift for my dad to replace his Solo S2. That's going to be a really big upgrade for him. And that's a nice gift. Good idea. Let's see. The Real Nizzle. Fun name. Normandy Park Police use K-band all the time. Let's see. Turn K-band on if you're in the Burien, SeaTac, or Normandy Park area. Thank you. I didn't know that. That's good information. I know down there they also, this was like 7 years ago or so, but there's like a 35.2 Stalker ATR that's used somewhere down in Pierce County. I don't know if it's still even in use, if it's still in service, but just other things, I guess, speaking of south of the Seattle area, things I've seen. So that's like a segment 7 Stalker ATR. So kind of interesting. Let's see. Tech King, my Pro M is missing a red light camera on my way to work, but I have it on my Max 360. Is there a way to add it manually in the Pro M? I guess you could always just add like a manual alert notification, so you get alerted to this location. You don't add it as a red light camera. You just add it as like, notify me of this area. You can always contact Radenso too. They can pass the information on over to their distributor, whoever they use for their database. And yeah, they can help you actually get that added to their database. And again, message them on the forums or shoot them an email on their website or something. Let's see. Razfella, recommendation for my next budget detector. Been running the DFR7 for my DD. Awesome. Getting a Corvette and looking at getting an R3. Thoughts? Nice upgrade. Better performance. False alert filtering. Yeah, you got the MRCD. Yeah, if you like the DFR7, you want better range, R3 all day long. Simple. Easy. Let's see. Haboob. What's the best photo radar detector with the longest range? I don't know. Traditionally, Radensos have been the best, specifically for MRCD. I have seen more complaints for the MRCT capabilities, and I know the R7s are better for those if you're in New York. I've seen good things with the Redline 360C being updated, but then different firmware updates change things. Like the R7 was doing better, but then apparently 1.35 broke a lot of MRCD detection capabilities. And so I don't follow this stuff too closely because I don't have it here in my area. I try to do the best that I can, but I don't really do MRCD stuff that much. And so I'm really reliant on other people to like put the stuff together and try to keep this information up to date. So I know like Dukes and Haywood and some of the Canadians have been doing a really good job of kind of staying on top of the MRCD stuff. So I kind of follow it because I try to give you guys some sort of informed opinion, but I'm not actually sure. I haven't been able to test it recently. And especially with some of the new updates, which have changed things, things have changed even more still. So for MRCD, I typically say go to the forums and maybe get better information there. Let's see. OJ Yurnen. Cool name. Hopefully I said that close to correct. Any idea when the Redline 360C international version is coming out? I don't. Hopefully fairly soon. I mean, I don't have an ETA or anything. Just what I've seen with future stuff at this point, especially with the pandemic, but even ignoring that, it's going to come out whenever it's going to come out. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know when Redline 360C international is going to come out. I don't know when United's going to post the R7 auto lockouts on their website. I don't know when Thea is going to come out. I don't know when the Unit and R9 I don't know any of this kind of stuff. So for future stuff, it's sometimes sure I beta test new firmwares or I test new detectors that aren't released yet. Cool, but who knows when manufacturers are going to release it. Sometimes they send me stuff, I test it, but then they decide not to release it. Or they decide to do some more changes, hardware or software, and then maybe it gets pushed out months down the line. Sometimes they're like, hey, we're about to release this. Here it is a week before release. Can you take a look and give us feedback? And I'm like, okay, this is mostly for review purposes. I would hope my testing can be done early enough to where you can do something useful with it to improve the detector and not just have me be a marketing mouthpiece, because that's not really what I'm interested in. I want to try to help make stuff better, If some company's going to release something new, let me give you a chance to try to offer some useful information. So anyway, all that. Modus Brewer, R7 auto lockout. Thumbs up. Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It was interesting with the R7. I know I talked about how the auto lockout, sometimes it wouldn't lock out the entire signal. And I forgot about this, and it's totally true, but this could also apply to manual lockouts, to where you manually lock out a signal and it locks out a signal for this location, but not that location. And you have to go and create manual GPS lockouts. And I completely forgot that I had to do that because I've gone and created the lockouts over time. And I'm like, oh yeah, the signals are completely locked out. So it's totally true that manual lockouts may not reliably lock out the entire signal either. So it might not be an auto lockout specific thing. Maybe it's a lockout thing in general that applies both to manual and auto lockout. So yeah. Hey, what's up, Jag42? Good to see you. How are you doing in Texas post-storm? Are you guys like back up to speed? Do you have heat and running water? Like, I don't know how you and your family have been affected with that. So hope you guys are doing okay and recovering nicely with all the crazy Texas stuff. Yeah. Let's see. NJS GES. I don't know how to pronounce that, but trying to set up highway radar for Android and ask for a Sabre plugin on Waze. How does this work, or is there a how-to guide? If you go to RDF, there's a thread that you can find for some Sabre information to give you extra functionality for highway radar or JBB1. Yeah, just go to the forums and you'll find it there. I'll just leave it at that for now. Let's see. T- of Texas. We're up and running in Texas. Awesome. I'm really glad that you're up and running. That whole thing was a crazy situation. Hopefully everybody's back up to running. Let's see. We're doing fine now. Jag42, thanks. Good. I'm really glad you guys are. Yeah. Let's see. Abel, how can I update the R7? I tried to do it on Windows and it was complicated. I know. Go to the forums. Ask there. There's a tutorial there. There's a video. You can get help there. I can't imagine like if I worked for Unit and I had to deal with that tech support stuff all day long. Even already, like I'm trying to help you guys, but like it gets a little tiring. So I'm like, go there. Here's where all the information is, and hopefully one day they improve it so there's not thousands of you guys all dealing with the same issues with problematic updates and stuff. So yeah. Let's see. Wachatui. R7 is new, doesn't detect all red light cameras in my area. Firmware database is downloaded. Any suggestions? I'm not sure how to reach out to Uniden to get them to add any red light cameras that aren't yet in their database. You can try reaching out to them. give them some information about that. I don't know if there's a forum thread. If there is and somebody knows of a good location, maybe put it in the chat or something. Maybe there's a forum post about it. I can talk to the Unity guys and be like, hey, look at this. Can you add these to their database or something, and just kind of help pass the message along? But otherwise, I don't know the best way to do it. Let's see. R7 in Texas and Houston are good out there. Cut out the K-band. KA and laser, they use it. Yeah, I mean, I've heard mixed things for Texas. I'm not a Texas expert. You guys are. But I've heard some places in Texas use K-band. I don't know if that's Houston or somewhere else. But yeah. Let's see. Unity's update process seems like a small facade around a generic EEPROM updater, nowhere near as polished as you would expect. If they could improve the driver thing, first of all, so you didn't have to separately download a driver. I mean, like with escorts, you don't, for example. That would definitely be helpful. And then if they could you plug in the detector, it automatically sees it, and then it can automatically check for a firmware update and download it. That would be a big thing too. I love the ability to just manually install any firmware you want so you can upgrade or downgrade at will. I think that's awesome. But I'd love to also have the ability to just have the software go out and check for the update and download it for you. That would definitely add a lot too. Timothy Melvin, is the R7 able to pick up multiple radars like the R3? Yes. I don't know if you mean different types, like photo radar stuff, or do you mean multiple signals simultaneously? Like, yeah, on the display, it's got, put my cable series unplugged. I'm plugging it. But yeah, I mean, on the side, it's got the thing to allow you to see like up to 3 additional signals. So one primary thing, and then up to 3 additional signals. So 4 signals at once. It can do that. T-minus to Texas. Houston, mainly KA and laser, now in smaller towns and K-band. Or NK. Okay. Okay, so I guess smaller towns, there's K-band, if I'm understanding that correctly. And Timothy, multiple signals simultaneously. Yes. Okay, so to clarify your question with the R7, yeah, it can display up to 4 signals at once. Charlie Lloyd, Max 360, what's Doppler radar? Doppler radar itself is just the principle of how police radar guns work. If you, I got my stalker 2 here. So any radar gun, they all operate on the same principles. They send a radar signal out, that signal hits a target, and the target kind of affects the signal, and it comes back. The way that it affects the signal and what the radar gun is reading is the Doppler shift. Doppler shift, if you've ever, you know how like if a car drives by or something, it's like, hopefully that was a good thing. But you know how like the pitch is higher as it approaches, and then once it passes, it's lower pitch? The sound waves kind of get compressed as it comes towards you, and then they stretch out as it goes farther away. You get a similar principle with Doppler radar, where it's measuring kind of the radar beams being squished as the car is driving towards the radar gun, or kind of stretched as it's driving away. That stretching and squishing is the Doppler shift effect, and that's what radar guns are using to measure speed. It doesn't really have anything to do with radar detectors. It's just the principle of how radar guns, radar transmitters operate to measure speed. So that's why it doesn't really have anything to do with the Max 360. It looks like my daughter is awake again. How long has she been asleep? Almost 2 hours, so I probably need to wrap up here pretty soon. She's had a good nap, but let's see. David, R7 seems to work on the standard windshield mount on the Model S, not in the cutout. It's off to a fast track. Is it working? Okay, so if you're working, David, if you're wondering about range reductions by your windshield, the easiest way to test that, grab my power cable, unplugged power cable. But the idea is take your detector, plug it in, so you can fire it up, right? Take the detector. If this is the windshield, just kind of like test it behind the windshield, and then test it, like stick it out the car window so there's no windshield in front of it. And find some radar source, a speed sign, a door opener, a police officer with a radar gun at a distance. Find to where it's maybe like 50% signal strength, 30% signal strength, whatever, just not 100%. Put it behind the windshield and then stick it out the window, still pointing straight and everything, and see if the signal strength suddenly shoots way up if there's no windshield glass in front. If so, it's pretty obvious that your windshield is going to be reducing the sensitivity that your detector is going to pick up on, blocking some of the signal. If you find the same signal strength, with the detector outside of the car versus inside behind the windshield, then there's no issue. So that's just the quick and easy way to test. I know with Model S's, some of them have issues blocking radar signals, others don't. So it's tough to just say all Model S's or some Model X's or whatever. Just usually the easiest thing is just test it with your car, and that's the easiest way to find out. Devin, is the Escort Easy Mag mount patented? Yes. This thing with this quick release, Escort does have that patented, so other manufacturers can't do that same thing. Yeah. Stickbit, what vehicles do you think the R7 falses to the most with the new update? Talked about that earlier. Mostly GM vehicles seem to be a big one. Mazda CX-5s also, if you don't have MRCD enabled. If you have MRCD turned off, you'll get some Mazda CX-5 falses. And then also sometimes I see some like, T-minus to Texas, you're saying Acura and some. There are some Acuras that'll transmit outside of the K-block range. I know there's some that are like 24.160 or so, which will be outside of K-block 2, so you'll still get falses to those. So there are some like that. I know some GMs are 24.171 or 173 and then 073 or, yeah, those are some of the common ones that you see. Paul, can you turn off the audio only on cloud alerts on Escort? Yeah, if you go into the Escort Live app, you can turn off the audio for the cloud alerts. I'm guessing that's what you mean. But yeah, play around with the app settings. You can turn off some of that stuff. Let's see, David, it'll false with MRCD off. Yeah, it's kind of a little Easter egg that people found recently. If you turn on MRCD on your R7, for whatever reason, it filters out BSM falses from Mazda CX-5s. Try that. But you also might want to try like some of the other MRCD filters and stuff, because you may get some additional MRCD falses. I talked about that in one of my recent videos. So like MRCD low speed muting, MRCD lockouts. Take a look at my R7 setup guide on my website. You'll find that. Ford V8 forever. Why do you refer to the firmware as 1.35 when Uniden calls it 135? All right, let me plug in the detector real quick. All right, so let's go to software. So the full firmware version is 135.142.115. It's like firmware GPS DSP or DPS DSP GPS. I forget which. So like there's different versions to different things. It's 1.35. Sometimes for shorthand, they leave out the decimal point. Whatever. Same thing. Potato, potato. I don't know. Some countries use commas instead of periods for stuff, for numbers, whatever. 1.35, that's what I call it. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. But I talked to Unit about it. We always call it 1.35. I think it's just shorthand here. Oh, actually, this could be interesting. If you take a look, they use the, I guess, the periods to denote kind of like as little separators between the three different versions. So maybe it doesn't make sense to have periods also in between. I don't know, whatever. Just little nuances and stuff. Looks like she is awake and not going back to sleep. Okay, well, I probably should get going since daughter's waking up. We're going to get back to it. Looks like the rain is subsiding, so maybe go for a walk, maybe play outside, play with the dogs. Yeah, we'll go. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and hanging out on a Sunday afternoon and just chatting about anything and everything with radar detectors. This was fun. So hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're having an awesome weekend. And got some more videos that I'm working on. I'm finishing up some stuff with an MPH Ranger radar gun. I'm getting that video wrapped up and I want to get it posted. Then I want to shoot one on the MPH B3, get that posted. So some more fun videos coming as always. And yeah, that's it for now. So take care. Have an awesome weekend. And guess we'll start seeing you guys in the next videos. Bye.